Okay, so we're going to work on solving and graphing this inequality. So, first question, why is it an inequality, right? So, these are the inequalities. When you see these symbols here, right here. So here we have less than. This is less than or equal to. Now, whenever you have the line under the inequality, it means or equal to. All right. So this is less than or equal to. This is greater than or equal to, and not equal to. So these are the five inequalities. Whenever we have those things, those are called inequalities. So we're going to solve and graph these inequalities. So 4 steps whenever we're solving for an unknown variable are always going to be pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. Yeah, so these are the 4 steps. The first thing is distribution. Then we're going to combine like terms. Then we're going to undo with addition or subtraction, and then undo with multiplication or division. And so 4 steps, pretty simple, right? Distribution, and you're only going to worry about distribution whenever you see the parentheses, all right? Combine like terms, we'll talk a little more about that. You'll see that as we go along. And here you're going to undo with addition and subtraction. Now, the opposite of addition is subtraction, right? And last one, undo with multiplication or division. The opposite of multiplication is division. So let's go here. All right, watch this. All right, so I see our parentheses here. And look, there's really a dividing line right under this inequality, right? So first thing I want to do is distribute, which means everybody can get some. Whatever is inside the parentheses is going to be multiplied by whatever is outside the parentheses. So 5 times 4, and then 5 times negative 3a. So 5 times 4 is going to be what, 20, right? And then 5 times negative 3 is going to be negative 15. And we're going to include the a. So it'll be 20 minus negative 15a, or 20 negative 15a. 20 minus 15a. Okay. And then we have our inequality sign. And right now it's greater than. Just imagine that this is a pack person, right? And so the mouth of the pack person is always going to go to the greater side. Good. And on this side, we have 8a minus negative 72. Okay. Keep in mind that negative and minus really are synonymous. They're really kind of like the same thing. Okay. So on this side, we want to get the variables. In other words, in this case, we want to get the a's on the left. And in this case, we want to have the numbers on the right. So let's do this. I want to move this 20 from this side to this side. So how can I do that? Well, this is really a positive 20 because there's nothing in front of it. So if there's nothing in front of it, we know it's positive. What's the opposite of positive? The opposite of addition or positive is negative or minus or subtraction. Opposite of positive is negative. Opposite of addition is subtraction. Once again, addition and subtraction, positive and negative, we're saying the same thing. Good. All right, so what I'll do is I'll subtract 20 from both sides. And look, when I subtract 20 on this side, I'm putting it under the numbers. All right. So this happens. Now 20 minus 20. If you had $20, you spend it all, you have zero. That's gone. It's nothing left, right? So that leaves me over here with negative 15a. Once again, we're trying to keep the variable on this side. Is greater than 8a. Now we didn't do anything with 8a because 8a is the a family. It's the variable family. We can't combine the number and the variable family. So 72, negative 72 minus 20. Trust me, negative numbers can be challenging, but this is how we're going to do it. Imagine you owed somebody $72. That's negative 72. Then you borrow 20 more. Let's say you're borrowing this from a parent. you know, you're borrowing it from your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your grandfather, your grandmother, whomever. All right. $72 you borrow, so that's negative. Then you have to borrow 20 more. Well, how much do you now owe them? You now owe them 92. Okay, good, good. So look, we have the negative 15A and we have the 8A. Well, I want the A family to get together. When I mean the A family, like this is the A family, all right? Here's the A on this side, here's the A on this side. So let's get the A family together. Now, the way we can do that is this is a positive 8A. So I'm going to subtract 8A from both sides. Now, we don't know what the A means yet. That's what we're solving for, right? That's what we're solving for. So I want you to understand something. 3x means 3 times x. So negative 15a is really negative 15 times a. But right now, we're going to go ahead and do the mathematics of it. So negative 15 minus 8. Negative 15 minus 8. I'm going to go off a limb. If you owed somebody $15, you borrowed 8 more dollars. Now you owe them $23. All right. So negative 23a, 8a minus 8a gives us 0. So that gets rid of this. We can cancel that out. So negative 23a is greater than negative 92. Now, here's something that's interesting. Whenever there's a negative number that's multiplying the variable, in other words, there's a negative number in front of the variable, we have to flip the sign. So this sign here is going to get flipped. So right now it's greater than, we're going to make it less than, okay? It's getting flipped. So now we have negative 23a is less than negative 92. All right, well, as we keep moving, we need to get a by itself. We need a to be by itself so we can solve for a. So negative 23a is really negative 3 times a. The opposite of multiplication is division, right? The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by the number that's multiplying the variable. That's negative 23. All right. So negative 23 divided by negative 23 leaves us with 1. And then our variables. We have 1a. Now here's the thing about math. It's a little lazy. So if it's a 1, we don't do the 1. If it's a 1, we just ignore the 1. So we have 8 left, right? And that just showed something I want to fix. Let me fix that very quickly. So we have negative 92 divided by negative 23. What am I talking about? I'm talking about right here. Negative 92 divided by negative 23. Now, I just used my handy dandy calculator so I can make sure I was correct. So negative 92 divided by negative 23. Whenever you have two negatives dividing each other or multiplying each other, it goes from, the answer is going to be positive. So I can actually just turn both of those in positive. So now we have 92 divided by negative 23, and the answer is 4. So here's our answer. We solved for the variable. A is less than 4, right? A is less than 4. Here's the answer. That's the solution we've solved. A is less than 4. So now we have to graph it. So that's the fun part. So watch this. Okay, so we have A is less than 4. Now, this is something I want you to check out. Here's a little cheat sheet I have on the side. Whenever you have less than or you have greater than, you're going to use a dotted line or a dashed line and an open circle. And if you're using the inequality less than or equal to, or the inequality greater than or equal to, you're going to have a solid line and a closed circle. Well, here, if I'm looking at what we're going to solve, we're going to graph rather, we're going to graph A is less than 4. Less than means we're going to use a dashed line and an open circle. So we're going to place the open circle on 4. Okay, and it says that A is less than. Now, here's the funny thing. You see it says less than. This is kind of like a arrow. All right, so the arrow says we're going to shade this way. So we're going to shade this way. And if we were drawing the line, we would draw a dotted line, but we're not drawing the line right now. All we're going to do is shade. So we put the open circle on 4, and we shade it in this direction. Why? Because that's the direction of the arrow or the inequality. See how that worked out? All right. Now, the last thing I want to point out is whenever you have an open circle or a dashed line, it does not include the number. So here, what's our number? A is less than 4. So it does not include 4. So A is everything under 4. It could be 3.9, it could be 3.5, it could be -15, -14,000, -1 billion. You never want to be -1 billion, but it includes that, right? But it cannot include 4, and it cannot include anything greater than 4. So it does not include 4. That's going to be something we have to pay attention to a little later. Let's work on our next problem, and I'm going to go through this problem very quickly, very quickly.